guys, and welcome to another episode of What Do You Do for a Crust? With us today, I'm really, really excited because we have definitely a sector that's close to my heart in relation to hospitality. So we have, is it a hospitality manager?
Correct.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for being here first and giving up your evening. It is technically a Monday, but this is your weekend,
yes.
Which is, part of the industry, and I definitely want to chat about that as well because I think, different schedules, but fun schedules as
yes.
well. We'll get into our Fast Five and we'll sort of go from there and see how the time progresses. Pros and cons of being a hospitality manager?
The hours are a bit of a pain sometimes. I do miss out on a lot of things in general, like family gatherings and things to do with my grandchildren and stuff like that. But it is quite rewarding. I'm a people person, so I really, really enjoy the contact with the customers the most. Even though I am a manager, I really do prefer doing the table service and meeting the people and being out there on the floor.
Very fair. I love, so I have been in hospital before, and I love that you are generally impacting someone's experience. We are generally sitting in a stunning place at the moment. We're under fairy lights. We've got a beautiful panoramic view of the Adelaide Hills. This is just incredible. We're having a lovely glass of wine. It doesn't get much better.
That's one of the cons.
That's a con. I'd say that's a pro.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a knockoff drink? It's almost un-Australian to not have a knockoff drink. In my
exactly.
opinion. We don't promote alcohol or unsafe drinking, but we all need a drop from time to time.
I'm really not complaining about the knockoffs.
That's very fair. I definitely want to chat as well about some of the people that you work with because, there's just incredible people in hospo, the dedication. We've had a chef on, we've had a wine som, we've had a winemaker, and just sitting across them and the passion they have is very impressive. How did you get into it?
I started really, really young, to be honest. I was 15 when I first started, and I got a job at the Adelaide Zoo.
Wow.
Yeah, so I ended up being there in their restaurant for a few years, which they do weddings, of course, so I was always part of the formal side of the zoo, not just the snack bar side of the zoo. So I was there for about 3 or 4 years, which is a long time when you're 15. And then a friend of mine who started chefing at a really big club asked me to come and help fill in for a function that they were having, and I ended up staying for 17 years.
Wow, so just a little bit of time.
Yeah, so I did all that. I became a single mother, so the hours actually worked better for me because they were opposite to my family. So my family could help me out with all the babysitting and I could go to work at night. So I kind of stuck with it. And here I am. I'm 51 now, so been doing it literally my whole life.
Very fair. And I got to admit, I don't want to share anything too personal, but you are very recently engaged. Congratulations,
yes,
I have
thank
to
you.
say, because that's just such a lovely thing.
It is. I'm very excited.
I'm even more appreciative of you fitting me into your schedule, given the buzz around that. And
not a problem.
Family and celebrating.
Yes.
More vino, obviously.
Exactly.
So obviously, you've been in the industry for a while. So growth opportunities-wise, you're, being that you're a hospitality manager, anything with a manager in the title is pretty impressive and obviously usually very lucrative. What are the growth opportunities for people generally in hospo?
There's lots of opportunities in hospitality, but unfortunately I think the younger generation are kind of skipping past it as a part-time job just to get them somewhere else. I absolutely adore my job. As I said, I've been doing it my whole life. So, the hours worked for me in my life situation. I've also studied in my spare time as well. So it can really be a great way of fitting it into your life if you want something a little bit different. I got out of hospitality for about 1.5 years, and that was probably 5 or 6 years ago. I was like, I'm done, I've had enough. But I missed it a lot, and having the normal people hours was really weird. So, yeah.
9 to 5. I got to admit, everything that I've learned over the last sort of six months with learning and interviewing people, what you say absolutely resonates. The individuals then go to a 9 to 5 and they go, this is just bizarre.
Yeah, it was. And although I do love my recently engaged partner, we had the same days off all the time. I was getting to a point of, are you going out today?
Some time yourself.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm so used to having days off by myself. I do have a lot of hospitality friends, of course, and we lunch on a Tuesday and Wednesdays. Yeah, it was great. I was missing my hospitality friends because I was doing normal people things and getting sick of my partner.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
So obviously we have, entry-level positions. Then
Yes.
we have, I'm assuming sort of middle management, upper management, those kind
Yes.
of avenues. So there is definitely potential growth, and you can go down.
100%.
You can go down events. You can go down.
Yep. Yep, just in this establishment alone, we have an event coordinator who takes care of all of our weddings. I'm the hospitality manager, of course. We have a tasting room manager who looks after that side of things as well. We have an operations manager who gets to have the weekends off, but he is also part of hospitality too. In the kitchen, we have a very young apprentice who's on her third year, which is great to see because that's not something you see very often. Our chef has been here for over 10 years,
Wow.
so there's a lot of opportunities in hospitality. If it doesn't matter where you want to start, some of our dishes are wanting to go up in levels as well. I started at the bottom as a dishy, so
We love those kind of progressions on the podcast because it shows dedication, tenacity.
Yep.
It shows resilience.
Exactly.
It shows your ability to learn and all those kind of avenues. Is it dying out these days? A lot of people don't.
I do think it is. I think that the staff that are coming through these days are here for a short time. They're doing it as a way to make money while they're doing university degrees, etc. And once they get that degree, they're gone, which is a shame because some I would have loved to have kept.
Yeah.
But it is a dying breed. It's getting harder and harder to find staff and people that are actually hospitality minded, which is sad for all of us. Yeah,
I definitely agree. What kind of sort of key traits and skills would you say someone should have to be successful and good at what they do in hospitality?
Dedication, an eye for detail. You really need to love what you do.
Yeah.
If you don't
Passion.
love the job,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be here. And as I said before to you, I got out for a little bit, missed it so much, I came back. So, yeah, I think you need to be a people person.
That's very fair. You are really enhancing and affecting an individual's experience. Sometimes, you go out for a meal or even for a drink and, the person that's serving you gives you a smile and, it just makes you huge, the experience
Yes.
so much of a difference.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think the service is something that is the most important. You can have, the chef's going to hate that I say this, but you can have a bad meal but still have the best time because of the server that you've had.
Yeah.
They've really turned that bad meal around for you. You'll go back, you'll give the food a second try. If you get bad service, you're not going back.
It is very, borderline judgmental because we all have our bad days. And, I really resonate when you're saying you have to have a passion and you have to be, driven to do it because technically you need to be on all the time. Particularly whether you are serving, whether you're in the tasting room, whether you are a chef, you need to be fully, as soon as you step through the door, you've got to be switched on, ready
You're
to go.
switched on, yeah. Yeah.
What kind of salary range are we talking? That's the one that everyone loves to know, the cheddar, the cheese.
It really depends on your experience and what level you're at. My first manager position, I started as a 2IC and I was on about 60K, but that's going back a few years now. At the moment, 100K is about where a good
Good money.
experienced.
Definitely good money. 6 figures. Anything 6 figures, I think, is very good money.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I think we always seem to, money's a big focus for everyone.
Yes.
We get that, cost of living, all those kind of things, but there are some really lovely perks that come with hospitality as well. You get the free bottles of wine, you might get the little bit of a bonus at the end of the year, or it might be, free meals, it might be just going out to events, it could be, tasting menus, it could be trying new things, you can get very involved and it can become a really lovely lifestyle.
Exactly. The training, most people will give as well, like owners and things like that, because they want you to stay relevant, is fantastic. So I'm at the age of 51 still learning things and training, and I love that. Or they'll take you out for a meal just so you can see what someone else is doing, which I also love. Free food and wine is a big bonus.
I mean, who doesn't love the perks? That's exactly, there has to be perks to
exactly.
Career, and there's some industries where you don't get that. And I mean, you and I sitting here, like I said, in a beautiful venue, in a lovely scenery, having a beautiful glass of wine, that's a hell of a perk.
Exactly.
I've worked in industries where you don't get anything, and you don't get much appreciation, and there's no overtime, there's no additional shifts or anything like that. It's very regimented. So this is, this industry does come with flexibility as well.
That can be the same in hospitality. I'm pretty lucky here.
I mean, obviously it's got to change from state to state and from organisation to organisation, and it is what it is.
Of course.
That's our Fast Five done. So pressure's off. The rest is just you and I having a yarn. Can I ask you? Hospitality seems to be, a dying industry, and we unpacked this a bit with our chef when we had him on a couple of weeks ago. And he sort of said, no one wants to work anymore, or just that it's such a hard industry because, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of people going in and out, like you said before, but it is, and I know this firsthand experience, it is a great industry to work in.
Yeah.
What is it that what is it that people aren't getting? Why are we missing that they're not getting the enjoyment that comes?
I don't understand. It is a fantastic job. I just don't think the younger generation are really looking at hospitality as an actual career. They're looking at it as quick money. They don't like to work Saturday nights, or, I'm pretty lucky working in a winery. I'm Monday to Friday. I do 9 to 5. Well, actually, I get Tuesday, Wednesday off, so I get 9 till 5. I don't have to do nights anymore, but I have for a long, long time.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the younger generation just don't want to do that anymore. I think money becomes a big part of it, and yes, hospitality is great for money, but they're looking at teaching degrees and other things instead of hospitality as a real legitimate form of an income.
I think that hospitality is a really interesting industry because it does create so many pathways. If it's and I'm not saying this is a usual thing, but if it's an if it's an uncomfortable workspace, there are so many opportunities. We're in South Australia. There are wineries, there are pubs, there are restaurants, there are cafes, there are specialty bistros. There are so many different avenues of hospitality.
I've done a lot in my hospitality career, different kinds of things. Like the place that I was at for 17 years was a very high-end private club. So, in that particular job, I did housekeeping because there were 11 bedrooms within the club.
Wow.
I had to do concierge as well, which I really enjoyed. One shift that I was doing a week was 7 a.m. till 3 p.m, which is just perfect for me, which I loved. Another one I did was 11 p.m. until 7 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, but someone had to be there. Someone had to be there all the time. And then from the high silver service kind of dining that I was doing, I ended up getting a gig as a butler. So I am one of only 6 trained butlers in South Australia.
Wow.
I went to butler school.
So, what a unique experience that you have that only 5 others do.
Yeah, and that was a job I just adored because you didn't know what you were going to do at work that day. Some days I'd be driving the person around just to appointments, and they'd be, you'd go to a restaurant, they're like, oh, would you like to sit in the corner and I'll buy you lunch? Or do you want to come back in 3 hours when I'm done? It's like, see ya. I'm still getting paid for those 3 hours.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those industries. I remember when I quit my trade, I had a friend who was working in a hospital, and he was a bartender at a functions venue, and he was like, hey, we're looking for someone, as long as you're willing to put in the effort, they'll teach you. You can't just be here and then just think it's going to be a job and whatnot. And I remember being like, I've just quit a trade. I've worked hard. No worries at all. It'll be easy. Yeah. And it wasn't an easy transition because it was very different. I'm rough and tumble tradesman to then being in the public service and whatnot, and being directly in front of individuals made a huge difference. But the money was fantastic. I thought it was really good. The people were so great. I made some friends that are still friends with me today. The experiences you share, it's 3 a.m, you've worked all night, and you're sitting just having a drink, just catching up with people. You're all exhausted, yet no one wants to go home. Everyone's really enjoying their time. Some of the things you see in hospital as well, I think, are very funny, whether it's clubs or pubs or restaurants. People are quirky.
Yeah.
But it's just good vibes.
Oh,
It's just generally
100%.
good vibes.
When I worked in the city, most restaurants in the city are closed Sundays and Mondays. It's a little bit different to being up in the hills. So Saturday night, any of the wines that were opened had to be drunk.
There you go, yeah.
So I also lived in the city at the same time, so I walked home. So we would just have 50 bottles of wine that we're going to finish this, we're going to get through this. And we'd be there till 3, 4 in the morning.
Well, it wouldn't be rude if you didn't. And it's a waste. You can't let it go off or go bad. It's a very
Exactly.
important thing. My wife used to work in a cellar door when she was a uni student, and we did not have a lot of money by any means. And, rice and beans and rice, tuna noodles, all those kind of things. And she used to come home, Sunday mornings, 2 a.m, I'd still be up studying, and she'd be like, oh, hey, I brought this bottle home. And it'd be a $200 bottle that someone's had a couple of glasses and gone, yeah, we want you to have the rest. And you'd feel like you're on cloud nine. You'd just be sitting there, it'd be 2:30 in the morning at that point. You're both half asleep, you're both tired, and you're just sipping on a really, really lovely drop going,
Yes.
This is nice.
I think the most expensive wine I've ever drunk was a dessert wine. So it was a 375ml bottle, and it was $3,000.
Ooh, big bickies.
It was this much left in the bottom that they'd left for us to try, and I'm like, pass it here, please.
I haven't heard that.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask you as well, how do you see COVID coming through? Because obviously you've been in hospital during that time. How did you find COVID affect the whole thing? And
It changed a lot, actually. I was full-time at COVID, so I was lucky enough to keep working. I was also running a pub at that stage, so I got to move to the bottle shop. We had to implement different ways of getting food out to people, so we organised a takeaway menu, which a lot of restaurants and pubs and stuff did. That is something that's still in place at that pub.
Wow, so obviously it was a good business model that worked well, and people went, actually,
100%.
Why,
so
why weren't we doing this before?
Yeah, they kept that, and it's still, to this day, you can still get takeaway there. So it was, a new way of getting food out to the people, because it wasn't something they did before, which is still really working well for them, which is a bonus. But there was a lot of cleaning and renovation of that particular pub.
I mean, obviously it's an opportunistic time to then go, okay, well, let's change some things, let's fix things up. And, obviously we know COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs, a big hit to the hospitality industry and any, public-facing industry. Did you notice a difference in people when they came back? Were people grateful to come back? Were they rude?
A lot of people didn't want to come back.
Wow.
Yeah, I lost a lot of staff over COVID that just went, no, I'm going to find something else, which was sad. But a lot of the staff there were quite young. The food runners were all under 18. They just went, no, I'm going to spend more time with my family. I don't really need to work. So a lot of the young ones just didn't come back at all. It made me reevaluate what I was doing as well in life. I realised I had way too much experience to be at the pub, and I missed the fine dining side of things that I'd been doing my whole life. So even I ended up moving on to a different place. So...
A bit of a silver lining then. It's a plus.
Yeah.
It is, I understand, I can see why it's an industry that attracts younger individuals, very fair. But given, the fluctuation of those individuals then potentially moving, or they're using it as a stepping stone, does that kind of lead you to then go, okay, well, it's more reliable to hire individuals with more experience, or have, are older but are, are going to be more dedicated or less likely to change?
I'm always looking for that dedicated professional, but they're like a needle in a haystack these days. I'd prefer to have some older staff on board if I could. It changes our dynamic in many ways. But, being in the hills, you don't have that selection like I used to when I was down in the city. You just have to take what you can take, really, which is majoritively uni students. We don't take a lot of travellers or visa people.
It's all seasonal work.
It's just so much paperwork that
I can imagine by the time you then train them up, they actually then start getting good at what they're doing if they don't have prior experience, and then...
Yeah, exactly. The training up of staff is time-consuming as well.
Costly, it's your time.
Yeah.
You have to oversee them, you have to make sure they're doing things, because then you don't want, they represent the business that you're in.
Exactly.
You represent yourself. You want them to be at a certain calibre. Very fair.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's become very difficult with staffing. And now we're going into winter. Things change in the Adelaide Hills as well. So that brings... different problem. I get all my staff ready for summer when we need everybody and it's busy, and then they're all casual. So then winter comes and you're really trying to keep everybody because you've trained them up all over summer, but then the hours drop and
people need to live and they need a certain amount of hours. It is a tricky industry. There's many avenues there.
That's why you need that full-time role.
I mean, that's very fair, and that's how they lock down, dedicated individuals that have a genuine passion.
If you're willing to take on the full-time role, that's fantastic. The hours will come.
With COVID, did you find that... Because I'm just thinking, it feels like we've had the perfect storm. We've had a pandemic, then there's all these things going on overseas, and we've had trade limitations, and now cost of fuel, and people are doing it tough. It is the cost of living is exponentially getting expensive. Are you noticing a downturn in the industry based on demand? Are there less people going out? Are there...
At my previous employment, yes, 100%. This is a bit different. People come here for a special occasion, or it's not just somewhere you drop in. You plan to come here. It's different. My previous place was a lot more casual. Still a beautiful winery with a gorgeous view, and completely different vibe though. And there we really did notice the downturn of the COVID effect, the fires that they had literally 3 months before COVID. People used to come in there and they'd order a meal each and a bottle of wine, and then it got down to sharing a meal and a glass of wine each. So it really started to decline over there, which was a shame. So... it does make it difficult with people wanting to spend money. We don't notice it so much here. As I said, people
different circumstance and it's a different target.
Like today I had wedding anniversaries and birthdays and all those kinds of things.
What a lovely thing to be a part of, though.
Yeah, it is.
Just think like
I've got a 99th coming up. I can't wait.
That's really cute. That is very, very, very cute. It is a challenge though. Less people are going to the pub, less people are going out for date night, going to the restaurants for tea, going to the cafe in the morning for for brekkie or a coffee, or they aren't getting dessert or they're not getting an entree, they're just getting a drink and a main, just because things are getting, not the prices have gone up, but just in general life has gone up. I'm not sure if you saw an article that came out a couple of months ago, and there's a politician, I'm going to butcher this quote, so I'm not going to try and quote, but talking about our alcohol tax in Australia compared to the tax on major gas and energy conglomerates. They're $1 trillion companies and they pay less tax than what the standard Aussie does on alcohol.
Yeah,
and there's a big influence there on Australian societal views on alcohol, and we all all piss heads and all those kind of things. But it's a real scary thing to then think, okay, we're all really quite struggling, and we pay more for a beer, like a standard pint is however much these days.
To get a $9 beer these days is cheap.
Yeah, exactly. And if, God forbid, if you want a crafty or if you want to split a bottle of wine with your partner, and it gets expensive. So I think those perks of getting the knockoff drink or getting the leftover bottle is a good perk.
Yes, it is.
Can I ask you, what is a typical day in the plank for yourself?
Or
a typical week, maybe. If
when I get here in the morning, it's a lot of office kind of things, responding to inquiries and checking bookings and all of that kind of stuff. Lots of emails, always. And then, service starts at 12 o'clock. So that's the people part. We're usually, we close at 4, but people hang around till about 5. So usually just cleaning up after lunch and everything between 4 and 5. It's the people part of the service that I enjoy the most, though, so that's good. But, there is a lot of back-end work as well, rostering, and you have to be all over the pay rates to make sure everyone's getting paid correctly. Your staff are always NAing themselves, so you've got to do the Tetris roster.
My God.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of back-end officey work as well. Not my favourite part of the job.
I mean,
but
very, very fair.
It has to be done. Yeah.
Ordering supplies, anything along those lines?
Sorry?
I'm just curious, is there general orders and stuff that you have to do, or is that sort of kitchen
separate? Of course. There's ordering and things like that I have to keep up on, even down to ordering a gas bottle for our sparkling water, that kind of stuff. I have to keep all the spirits here. I liaise with the chef a lot because he does a lot of my ordering for me here. At my previous position, I did everything. I even ordered for the kitchen.
Wow.
I was also the wedding planner. I did literally everything. So this is nice that people delegated. It's taken a big weight off my shoulders.
I have definitely noticed that about hospo, that everyone wears many hats.
Yeah.
Talking to the chef that we had on, if his apprentice or if the disher didn't rock up, it was all hands on deck. If they were short one person, say they were sick, we all get sick. He wouldn't get a lunch break, and he'd have to then start prep for dinner service, all those kind of things. It is it takes a village, to say the least. But definitely sounds like you're wearing many hats and have across your experience.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does. It is. I mean, it's fast paced, in my opinion. I remember, you've got service. You've got, people want to get their food out on time. People want to have a positive experience throughout the time. So they're constantly wanting glass refills. They're wanting, your opinion on what's on the menu, what's good, what's the special. All those kind of things. We
change our menu here every 3 months, so you just get used to the description of food that you're putting down in front of people, and it changes again. So you start again. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to try and remember as well. Terms on the menu that people don't know. I usually try and put together a list of words that I know the staff are going to ask about and their meanings. So I've pretty much come across everything in my hospitality life, so I can pretty much say, yes, that's what it is. But you see customers sitting at the table with Google out.
I would be one of those people. I won't lie. My wife is very educated in that kind of avenue, but I'd be like, what's a compote? I don't get it.
Yes. In terms of cooking and everything.
Yeah, exactly
Yes.
right. I'm a firm believer. We were talking about this with the wine song that we had on, that I genuinely believe that every single human being should work either hospo or retail in their lifetime.
We talk about this all the time.
Because, that you genuinely have a respect for them people and how you treat people. I remember some of the obnoxious wankers, and pardon my language, it was always men as well, which was really frustrating, but the attitude of, the customer's always right, I definitely do not believe that. Because
that's not a thing.
It's not. Because I look at, say you're having 200 covers in a day. Your job is then to please 200 individuals who all have different needs, different expectations, different wants, all that kind of avenue.
Yep.
Some are going to have absolutely ridiculous expectations.
Some people you just can't please at all.
Right.
Like, one thing will set them off. Like here, you can see this row of tables in front of the window. Everyone wants to sit here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do table Tetris. I am super fair about it. I look at the dates that the people have booked. If it comes down to me having one table left at the front and both people booked on the same day, I look at the time. I break it right down. And then you've got someone that you'll sit just behind me here, which still has the most amazing view. Oh, but I requested a window seat. You
get what you get.
And that one little interaction of not getting what they wanted,
and
just
the whole night's ruined.
You've got to work hard to get them back up again.
It is I don't know if it's entitlement or what it is, but I genuinely will always respect anyone in hospital, anyone who's,
Yes.
I don't have to cook, I now don't have to do the dishes. Like, I am very appreciative of being able to come here and enjoy the avenue and enjoy the experience.
We do try hard.
Yeah, very fair, very, very fair. It is an avenue. Have you had any experiences? You don't have to go into a specific detail because we don't want you to, name and shame. But have you had any obnoxious, guests over the years? And how do you deal with it?
Always. It happens almost weekly. It's not like, something that happens over the years. It's nearly every week.
What's the most bizarre thing you've seen?
The one thing that really gets my goat is the people clicking at you.
Oh.
Like you're an animal or something, or like, just... Yeah. I always look the other way and pretend I didn't see them. Yeah, exactly. Make them wait longer. Yeah. But, I've seen everything.
See the audacity to click at someone.
Today, like with reviews, you hear about everything too. And the thing that gets my goat the most is someone that you think has had an amazing day. The next day it pops up on Google, but this one thing wasn't right. And they had every opportunity to speak to me during the day and mention this, but they don't. They go home and they just stick it on the internet. It's like, if there's an issue, please speak to someone then and there. It might get you a free glass of wine. It might get you a free dessert. It could, help. You don't have to go home and put this bad thing. I've seen some of my young staff in tears because of the way they've been treated by customers. Sometimes a lot of the time it will be the older generation that are very entitled. It comes up a fair bit. You get either the really, really lovely ones or the not lovely ones.
Okay. I love your professionalism.
Yeah.
Like the not so nice one.
Yeah.
The arseholes, we can say.
Yes.
I'm saying the arseholes, you're not, but
yes.
I am. I just, it gobsmacks me some of the things that I would see. I would see someone that I saw one woman who, it was lovely. She put her napkin or her her napkin on her lap as she was having her meal. It fell off, and then she expected the staff to pick it up every time.
Yeah.
And it happened multiple times. And just lean down and pick it up yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Lean down and get it.
Yeah.
And
that was at a pub.
We also, over the weekend had a group come in and they had young children. And they brought in all their bikes.
Oh. We're in a nice venue. Right.
Yeah.
We have a lovely place.
It was just like, what do you plan to do with them?
It is fascinating because people just seem to have no awareness, which is bizarre. It is really challenging. I'd love to get your take on this. When you've got a table, you've got a full setting, full house, and you've got a table that's extremely loud, and then you've got maybe a young couple a couple that are celebrating an anniversary or an engagement or something really lovely, and then they've got a really loud, drunken, obnoxious, table next to them. When do you then step in, I guess? Do you step in?
I try and make more of a joke about it with someone. If it's a drunk table, because they're usually pretty merry, I try and make a bit more of a joke about it, not go over and say, excuse me, can you please shut up? Just try and go, hey guys, I know you're having fun, but the oldies over there, I want you to cut it out a bit. And usually they're pretty good. They'll be like, oh, sorry. I try and let my staff deal with their own tables. They come up with a problem and I'm like, okay, so I give them all tools to be able to help the table or work around what the problem is. I don't always want to just jump in and fix it. I want them to...
Well, it's skill building and they need to...
Exactly. So I really do try and help my staff fix their own problems that way. But sometimes, you just have to jump in and you can tell straight away. I don't know if it's because I've done this forever. You just know that's not going to work with this table. I'll go over. So.
I very much don't envy your avenue in that perspective because, I'm just constantly in my mind, I'm thinking, I want to speak to your manager, and that's you. They're asking to speak to you, and you're going, oh, okay, here we go. And it's hard to be merry and professional when they're so obnoxious or they're so rude or they're just whatever they're asking or complaining about is just so minute, it doesn't matter. I've seen people turn back bottles of wine, or they go, no, I didn't ask for that, and the waitress goes, but you did. Like, I even poured you a glass, and you're like, yep, thank you very much, and then left the bottle, and you drank half the bottle, but you didn't ask. Like,
Complain about the food after they've eaten everything on the plate.
Exactly right. Like, and you're like,
I've got a good one for that one. It's like, I'll see if I can get you a refund on what you've left.
We'll give you 30 cents back because,
Exactly.
that's doesn't even cover the sauce that's left on the plate.
Yeah, the lamb was really overcooked, but they've eaten everything.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, you didn't tell us, when it came. Oh, it was cold. Really?
But you still ate it all.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I would see that a fair bit, actually, where they'd go, oh, it was a bit cold, and you go, yeah, because you didn't eat it. It's been sitting on your plate for 10 minutes and you've just touched it now.
Had that with an influencer once. She took so many photos of the food that it was like half an hour later that she went to eat it, and she's like, this is cold. I'm like, that's because you took 150 photos before you sat down to eat it.
It's hard to not... I get a bit narky there because I sit there and go, the dedication, the passion that's come to that, you've got people who are working extremely hard there on their feet all day. You've got the chefs that have, designed this menu, the sauces, the everything. You've got, the plate, the cutlery, the glasses have been polished, everything's been wiped, cleaned. You've got lighting, you've got air control, temperature control, you've got background music. Like, it takes a lot of work and effort to get that meal to you on the plate, and then you're like,
that wasn't great.
Yeah. There's a big thing in the industry at the moment, I've found, for like social media, where people are trying to get free meals because they're semi-famous on social media. Like, they go, oh yeah, I've got 1,000 TikTok followers, can I get a free meal and I'll, push your business? And you kind of go, well, like, that just seems to me really, really quite unprofessional and really quite uncomfortable to then expect that. Not even to ask it, but to expect it.
Yeah, that's insane.
It is such a weird, it is a very weird avenue.
Sure, I'll pay for your food, no worries.
Or they just think like, oh yeah, you've got a spare, like, it's fine. You've got a spare bit of funds to cover these kind of things. Yeah.
We also get a lot of things like, oh, it's my birthday, what can you do for me? It's like, I'll give you great service.
Yeah, you'll get service with a smile.
And some great food that you'll pay for.
You're going out for a meal. What do you expect?
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
What do you mean you can't write happy birthday on a plate? Because we don't have any liquid chocolate.
I mean, it almost feels a bit obnoxious as well to do that while they're here as well. Like, they haven't left a message. Like, a lot of the time now when you're making, like, say, an online booking, you're calling on the phone, you can go, oh yeah, it's for, we're celebrating an anniversary, or we have a severe nut allergy, please be aware, whatever it might be. There's always avenues, rather than just, we're here now, oh, it's our birthday, what can you give us? Like,
Yeah, it happens a lot.
It's hard not to judge a book by its cover, but I do remember being a little bit judgmental with some individuals, just going, oh, okay, well, they were very loud or just very rude or very short to the servers, and I always went, okay, you don't know how to treat people, to at least say, like, please or thank you. Like, someone's pouring you a glass of wine, thank you so much.
Yeah, exactly. I over-thank you when I go out, and then I'm like, oh, I said that too much.
I think you can't. Can you over-thank you? Like, really? I think people just appreciate it.
Sometimes I have to say, I'm so sorry, I'm in hospitality too.
My wife hates when I do this. Anytime we go out for a meal or anything along those lines, I try and pack the plates. Yeah. So I'll try and stack.
Yeah, please stop that.
And she'll be like, what are you doing? Like, you're doing it wrong as well. Like, and I'm like, no, but I'm helping. I just want to help. And
No,
like,
don't do that.
And I'm doing it. I'm always doing it wrong, apparently. So don't do it.
Don't do it. It's easier to pick up yourself because you know what you can carry and where you're going.
Okay, that's a good tip for the listeners.
If someone stacks plates, you've got to take that stack like
whole
that.
Stack. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you spread the weight over 3 different bits.
Very good.
You can pick up way more when you pick it up properly. I can clear a table of 10 in one go.
I mean, you do build strong arms. Like, you definitely.
Yeah.
I remember having really good balance as well. I was bartending for a while, and I did like little cocktails and shots and stuff like that. And I had really good balance.
Yes.
It was the best I've ever had. And
also, tennis elbow.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you go on your feet? Without me getting too personal, sorry, because you are on your feet all day.
It's difficult. The search for work shoes is constant.
Well, it has to be fashionable. It has to be non-slip, but it still has to cover toe. Like, there's a lot of.
Yep.
It's not as.
It's constant. I've had plantar fasciitis before. I'm so paranoid it's going to come back. Now I'm complaining that I think I'm getting bunions. Yes, I'm getting old, but that's not the point. But
definitely not the point. I mean, they
Yeah.
say the average hospo worker does like 16,000 steps a day.
Yeah, easy.
And, like the average for the human, like the average human is only like 4,000 now. Like,
Yeah.
It keeps dropping.
Yeah.
So you're nearly quadrupling the average.
On wedding days, if I'm working the wedding, I'm here from like 10 a.m. until 1 a.m. And I don't take a break because if I sit down, I struggle to get back up. So I just keep going. If I keep going, I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a long day. It could be 15-hour days on a wedding day. You have to be here early for the deliveries.
Yeah, absolutely. I can absolutely understand. Would you have any tips for someone that's thinking about getting in a hospo and what they should be looking for? What's the difference between a good place to work and a bad place to work? Not that, we don't want to single out any places that are bad.
You definitely have to feel the vibe of the place you're working. Like I've always said to my staff that I want you to be happy to come to work. I don't want you to wake up in the morning and go, oh, I've got to go to work. If you're doing that, I don't want you here.
Yeah.
I want you to be happy. I want you to come in ready to go, happy to see me, happy to see the customers. If you're not feeling it, don't stay. And I've always worked with that kind of vibe. Like, you have to get along with your team. You've got to be happy where you are. If you're not, get out. Find somewhere else. It's not going to work.
I mean, it's so true. When I first started in hospo, the very good friend of mine who got me the job, he was like, no matter what you do, just make sure you listen. Because, you're going to hear behind, you're going to hear, yes, chef, you're going to hear, like, it's going to be loud, it's going to be fast-paced, it's going to be, they had flames going. And he gave me this really great tip, and he was like, just make friends with the chef.
I always say
and I was
that
like,
too.
what do you mean? And he's like, trust me, just make friends with the chef.
Yeah.
So I was working, I was the boots boy. And for those of you who don't know what a boots boy is, it's basically the person who just does, you're almost like the labourer for the site. Well, that was what I was doing. So I was checking measurements for alcohol, I was restocking shelves, I was setting up dance floors, moving chairs, tables, putting up lights, anything, absolutely anything. And it was great, absolutely great. And part of being the boots boy is that when wine had been open for more than 3 days, whether it was red or white, they got rid of it. And so I would go, kitchen, do you guys want some wine for cooking and all those kind of things? And of course, the chefs, they wanted to drink it. No judgment. So they would go, hey, like, have you got anything? And it would also help them prepare for their menu as well. They'd go, okay, do I need to get extra wine? What have we got coming? All those kind of things. But it was it was such good years. I just remember it so fondly. It was a one hand wash the other. Like, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I've got a red that's about to go. It's nearly full. It's an expensive one. No one wanted it for whatever period. It's during the week, whatever it was. And they'd go, no worries, leave it on there and we'll make you a sandwich for lunch or something.
Yeah.
Or if you came in hungover, not that I ever did, but if you did, they'd make you like a toasty with like avocado and they just would look after you.
Yep.
And, just they generally cared, which was really nice.
Yes. So I think I've made friends with the chefs here. He rocks up with sausages and Red Bulls.
What a combination. My God.
I know. So I'm pretty lucky there.
That's a winning combination right there.
It's a hospo combination.
It certainly is. I mean, you've got to do what you've got to do to get through.
Yeah.
I think a huge perk of working in hospo is that usually the venue has a coffee machine as well, and we're talking good coffee.
No, I've had to stop myself from drinking coffee because it was just constant. Every time you run off a shot, you end up drinking it because you don't want to waste it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I just have to look away.
Oh, I don't know how you do it. That would be, I would get to work early. I'd get to work about half an hour early just so I could make myself a coffee and just sit and enjoy it and then be like, yep, I'm ready to get started.
Yeah.
No worries at all.
We're all onto the matcha lattes at the moment.
I haven't got around it. It's not my kind of thing, but it's one of those avenues.
Well, I just went away not long ago and I stayed above a Asian supermarket in Melbourne. So I went down and bought all these packets of matcha.
The smells I can imagine.
Yeah, bought it home.
They smell incredible. We are getting close to our time, and I'm very conscious this is your Friday night, so I don't want to take up any more of your time than we need to. We talked about how, COVID was a challenge, cost of living is a challenge, the industry itself is a challenge that, it's not drawing a lot of individuals, or young individuals, and particularly young individuals these days don't seem like they really want to work. They're not picking up extra shifts, they're not wanting to stay late, they're not wanting to go the extra mile, show the initiative, all those kind of things. Do you have any suggestions, given you've been in the industry for many, many years, and you do not look 51 for reference? I know this is all audio, guys, so you can't see, but you do not look 51. You've got that newly, recently engaged glow about you because you're very smiley.
I'll take it.
What kind of industry do to draw in more good people? I mean, I know that's a really hard question to answer.
It is. I think if you're looking to get into hospitality, other than finding the right place for you, I think that you need to show your dedication, you need to be willing to do the hours. There's ways around getting out of the nights. Find yourself a winery. Wineries, most of them up here don't do dinner. So, I thought I hit the jackpot when I started to get into the wineries, and I got to go home and have dinner with my partner every night. There's ways around hospitality. There's cafes to look at. You can do early morning work instead and be home by 2 p.m. Start at 7. There's ways into it. If you're looking at it as a career, I highly recommend it. I absolutely love my job, and I've met some amazing people over my time. As I said, I got out of it for a bit and had to come back. So there are some negatives, but I think the positives far outweigh the negatives.
I would definitely agree. I mean, like I said, I met some great people. The nights weren't as bad as I thought. Like in regards to, I get home. I remember. I'm sorry, I'm reminiscing a lot on this episode.
No, that's all right.
I apologise. I remember, working until midnight, maybe 1, staying for a drink, getting home, and I'd pour myself a little port, and I'd just sit and sort of unwind. And then I'd wake up at 9, 10 o'clock, and I'd still get my 8 hours.
Yeah.
I'd still, I made very good money, very, very good money. And I actually enjoyed the evenings.
Yeah.
And if anything, it was actually a really good financial avenue because I couldn't go out because I was working.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was having a good time. I was getting good perks. I was getting
it's
good
a good
money.
excuse for things you don't want to go to, too.
Oh, there you go. That's a good way. There you go. If you're a bit of an introvert and you want to get out of the family and the family get-togethers, you can say, sorry, I'm working, sorry.
Exactly, sorry.
I think particularly in South Australia as well, we are in it's a small state. Everyone knows everyone. You do get a reputation to be like, oh, yeah, I want to get that chef, or, yeah, I want to get that hospital manager because I know, they're going to, they're switched on, all those kind of things. So it does come with it, job opportunities, and you do often hear people getting poached and all those kind of things. And it's nice to feel wanted,
Yes, it is. It kind of happened here.
I mean, it happens, It's a competitive industry like we've talked about.
It is. I've been very lucky. I've worked with some very famous chefs over the years. Gordon Ramsay is someone that I worked with just for a couple of shifts. Super lovely, but again, the ones that I appreciate even more are the ones that are well known in Adelaide or Australia. I've made some really good friends with people over my years. I've been very, very lucky. So, please look at this as a career opportunity. It is a long-term thing. I'll probably be working till I'm 70 because I actually love my job. So.
It's always a good sign when you talk to someone who's like, I want to work, rather than, I can't wait till I hit, or I want to retire early.
Yeah.
And you go, well, we know if we don't use it, we lose it. If you're not saying cognitively, engaged, it does disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to say as well, around the negative and positive feedback, I was thinking about it just before. Unfortunately, human behaviour is that we are more likely to focus on the negatives, and we're more likely to say something about the negatives and the positives.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Which is something that, we shouldn't take to heart, because you could be doing a terrific job and, just one person, one arsehole goes, oh, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's hard to please everyone. But,
the reviews, I wish they never existed, but, you have to take it like water off a duck's back. So.
Well, we've all got screens now, isn't it? It's just too easy to find the information, unfortunately. I think we're at time, because, again, I'm conscious it is
your
Friday night.
I still haven't finished my wine yet.
I was going to say, neither have I. What about yourself? Is there anything you wanted to chat about in regards to the industry? Again,
no.
I'm leaving this very open.
I think the industry is getting very overlooked at the moment, but I'm really hoping that it picks up again and gets back out there. I think once the petrol crisis goes, it seems to be one after another, these crises. But
it's a weird time.
Yeah, hopefully people will get back out there and support businesses, especially local businesses. Being in the Adelaide Hills, we try and support everyone local. Our gin, our coffee, everything we can get from directly around us, we do. Support local, get out there, eat and drink.
That's a really good point to make, that you're not just coming out for an event, a meal, you're also, you're funding an industry. South Australia, we pride ourselves on our wine, we pride ourselves on our local produce. We've got beautiful seafood and all those kind of things down in the southeast.
Yep.
And
all our produce is South Australian. We try and use as much as possible. The only thing we can't get directly around us at the moment is the lamb, so that comes from Limestone Coast. But we use everything directly around us. Even for Mother's Day, I'm getting flowers for the table that come from down the road.
Nice. That's lovely. That's really lovely. I need to get some flowers for my mother on the day.
Yes.
We'll leave it there. Thank you again so much
problem.
for your time, and thank you very much for sitting down and chatting with us. I think it's a really important industry, a really rewarding industry, a really passion-focused industry, and, who doesn't love it? Yeah.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.